Hello friends, welcome back to another video. Thanks so much for stopping by. I look forward to hanging out with you today. And today we're going to be talking about January and how weird January can be sometimes. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels this way. Between December and February, I feel kind of like this weird limbo land where I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't have flowers out for spring. I love getting tulips. I love growing flowers. I love getting my balcony ready and my garden ready for the spring, but it's still too cold. It's still too early to do that. But there's also not this like whimsical winter feeling still. It's a very awkward feeling. I mean, it's beautiful outside right now. We're very, very lucky today because it's actually bright and sunny and kind of, I wouldn't say warm, but it's warmer than negative degrees. And I think I'm just at this weird limbo spot and I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be doing, and I really don't know what to show you guys too to like make you enjoy this time of year even more. And that's what I'm wanting to do. I want to show you guys how to like enjoy every part of the year and enjoy each of these beautiful times: spring, summer, autumn, winter. But there's January. And January is just kind of awkward. So I figured today we'd find a way to make January more exciting, more welcoming, and not this like weird limbo land between winter whimsical and spring happiness. So today I figured we would bake some cookies. I've been wanting some oatmeal cookies and my partner has asked, please make some oatmeal cookies. I figured we would make some hearty, delicious soup, because what better way to kind of still embrace the coldness than a soup? And I also wanted to talk about 5 books that I'm looking forward to reading. I wouldn't say just in January, because I can't, I would be 100% honest, reading these 5 books in January when there's only a week left is ridiculous for me. But I figured I would read them at the beginning of February as well. I probably won't get to all of them. I'll probably sprinkle a couple of them through spring as well. But I figured I would talk about these 5 books and kind of why I want to read them. So I haven't read these ones. I'm lying. I'm currently reading this one. But then we have 4 new ones that I haven't read yet that I've picked up and want to read during this time. And I think they encompass this kind of the correct feeling that I'm looking for in January. And last but not least, we will go ahead and put together a mood board. And I think mood boards are really great because they're a great way to kind of say, hey, this is the feeling I'm looking for during this time of year. And for spring, like I said, I love to buy tulips. I love getting flowers out. I love creating that nice, warm spring feeling. And before we get to that nice, warm spring feeling, I want to kind of embrace this time where it's still cold and we can still make it whimsical. It doesn't have to be winter whimsical of holiday trees and holiday things and garland and lights, even though I still have lights, but that's because it gets really dark in here. But it can still create that whimsical cold feeling of being cozy and comfortable and still embracing that really nice crisp part of whimsical winter. So I figured that's what today's going to be all about, is figuring out how we can enjoy a whimsical January and maybe beginning of February. So let's go ahead and first bake some cookies, and then we'll go from there. I'm thinking we'll bake some cookies, talk about some books, make some dinner, and make a mood board. Sounds good? I think it sounds great. So the 5 books I want to talk about are kind of encompassing an idea. So, oop, I almost dropped them on myself. So they're encompassing an idea or a feeling that I'm looking for winter, whimsical January. Kind of feel this renewal feeling or this like motivational feeling I want for this month. January, I think, can be a lot about like, oh, we have to renew ourselves, we have to rebuild ourselves, we have to do a lot of things. But it also should really be about like keeping things we love about what we already do. And I've really enjoyed reading this last couple years. I think I hadn't read for quite some time, and I picked up books when I first moved to Germany because I was like, okay, I can't just keep staring at my phone before I go to bed, so I'll read a page or 2 of a book. And I also joined a book club. And so I figured I would just keep reading before I went to bed, and I kept doing that, and then I would get into a really good book, and then I would read during the day, and then things kind of kept going forward, and now I'm reading way more than I used to, and I absolutely love it, and I think this is still something I want to keep for this year. So I'm not adding a new goal, I'm just keeping something that I loved and enjoyed. And these kind of 5 books talk about renewal, motivations, moving forward. At least the descriptions talk about that. I actually don't know what the books are about because these are books I have not read, except for Under the Whispering Door by T.J. Klune. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard T.J. Klune. T.J. Klune has also written The Cerulean Sea. I can't remember the whole title. You know what? I could just look on the book. The House on the Cerulean Sea. See, it's on the back of the book. So Under the Whispering Door, I picked up this one because I wasn't ready to read The House in the Cerulean Sea. I want to read that one, but I was hearing so much about it, I kind of wanted to pick up a different book that was completely new that I hadn't heard anything about. And so I picked up Under the Whispering Door, and I'm about halfway through this book, a little bit more than halfway, and I already know it's going to be a 5-star. I've loved this book so much. I've laughed out loud, which has been so great, but I've also gone through a lot of emotions of grief and pain and mystery and not knowing the whole answer. And I think this book really encompasses that idea. It's about a man who dies, and he is in this kind of limbo land like January. And the limbo land is a tea shop, and he's kind of learning about death and about the next steps. And it's really lovely, and it's really been great. I've really been enjoying this one. I highly, highly recommend it. And I think it's been sweet. It's been a perfect read for this month. I read 2 other books at the beginning of January, and I thought, oh, these are gonna be great, but they kind of put me in a weird mood, mostly because they were dark and heavy, and I was thinking, I need something that's not so dark and heavy. However, I thought this was gonna be a cozy fantasy. I'm gonna say, I think it's still like cozy fantasy-like, but it has a lot of dark humor, and it's a little more crass in certain ways. So I thought this was a great pickup. I think this is a great book. I love T.J. Klune's writing in this one, so I'm actually getting more excited to read The House in the Cerulean Sea. And I think if you haven't read this one, you should definitely read it. And I think this is a perfect book for this time too, because it's lighthearted, still a little dark, has some harder subjects, but still a lovely book and written so well. So this one's I'm currently reading. I'm gonna finish it probably in the next 2 or 3 days, and I'm really loving it. But the next 4 I have not read at all. I only know them from other booktubers, what I've read on the back, and that they're kind of, like when I look at the covers, they're what I want to read, if that makes sense. So the first one is kind of my abnormal pickup, and I picked this up actually at Powell's bookstore in Portland, and this is called The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reid. I would say Reid, but I think it's Reid, but Ava Reid. And this one's about not feeling welcome, not feeling embraced, not feeling loved, not feeling cared, and so our main character just feels like she's not welcome in her community. She's not welcome in her village at all. And it's very whimsical, very dark, very, I would say a hard life to read about, but things start moving in a different direction. And it sounds like from the back of the book, she ends up meeting somebody that first turns out negative, and then we kind of follow a line of unexpected goodness behind that relationship. And I think the reason I'm looking at wanting to read this book is it's I didn't do a very good job of explaining it, but I think for January, we can feel a lot of like questioning of like, oh, is this really the right thing? Oh, should I be working out more? Oh, I should be doing this more. I'm not keeping up with my resolutions. I'm failing, and really you're not. And it can feel really heavy and negative all the time. And that's not showing self-love. And we can see that in this character from the back of the book, that she has no self-love. She has no hope for herself, it sounds like, but somebody else sees something in her. And I think that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that sweetness, that sweet spot of being like, things aren't going my way, but there's other people out there, even if they're not your family, even if they're not your village, there's other people out there that believe in you and care for you and love you. And those are the people that matter. And it doesn't matter if you're failing at your resolutions, if you're doing great at your resolutions, if you're hard on yourself. Always turn to those people that love you and care for you, or find people that love you and care for you. And it doesn't have to be a partner. It could just be a friend. It could be your sister, your brother, or your neighbor you become friends with. And find those people that actually hold you up, that actually give you that care. And that may not be what this book is about, but reading the back, that's what I feel like this book is about. And that's the kind of feeling I'm looking for this January, this uplifting, this strong empowerment feeling. And so I hope this is what this book is about. And if not, I'm in for a surprise, but I'm still looking forward to reading it because it does sound interesting. I'll go ahead and put this in the description below, so if you want to also check it out, you can. But I hope that's what this book is about. And if not, I think it's still gonna be great. It sounds good. I'm not gonna read the backs because that takes a while. And I'm just gonna give you why I think these books are worth reading right now. The next book is The Cat Who Saved the Books by Sôsuke Natsukawa. Sôsuke Natsukawa. And this one's translated by Louis Hill Chewy. I do hope I pronounced both of those correctly. And I'm looking forward to reading this one, because there's a cat on the cover, and it's a talking cat. It's a talking tabby, and I think that's so sweet and so cute. And it's about books, which, oh, how great is that? But this one's also about motivations and finding your place, I believe. The idea is this young man ends up losing, I think, a parent or somebody really close to them, and that person owned a bookstore. And now this man now inherits this bookstore, and he doesn't think he can save it. And so we follow his journey with this tabby cat of saving other books, and I think we come to his journey of saving this bookstore as well. Again, I don't know, I haven't read it, but that's kind of what the description said. And I think that sounds so sweet and perfect for this time of year, because it's all about motivations and moving forward and fighting for the things you want to do and love. And it may be hard, but we can do it if we really want to, if we put our heart to it. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I think it's going to be a quick little read, a short little read, and I'm just looking forward to it. The next one is Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. I just love this cover. It's gorgeous. It's an absolutely gorgeous cover. And I think, I'm gonna say, I'm starting to think, I bought this because the cover was great, but also because the octopus is from the Pacific Northwest, and I'm from the Pacific Northwest, and I thought, I want to read a book that takes place in the Pacific Northwest. And this one is also about grief, and I'm sure you can kind of see a pattern of what's happening. It's not with all of the books, but 3 out of my 5 books is about grief and moving forward in grief, not getting over your grief, but living with that grief. I think January kind of creates this kind of grief feeling of we're grieving the year previously and we're entering this new year, and it's about learning to live with this new year and learning to live with the things that we went through in the past. That got really philosophical, but back to Beautifully Bright Creatures, because this is a beautiful book and it's bright and beautiful. And that's one of the reasons I bought this book. This is about a woman who loses her husband and then her son disappears on a boat, and we follow that mystery and we follow that need to overcome what's happening, and she befriends an octopus. And that's really the only reason I bought this book, is I love the fact that she befriends an octopus. I believe the first chapter is in the octopus's perspective. And so I think this is going to be delightful. It's kind of a mystery from what I've read on the back, and it's about trying to figure out what happened to her son. And a detective is involved too in trying to help figure out what happened to her son. And it's also the interaction with the aquarium, the octopus, and this feeling of moving forward and overcoming some situations. And so, like some of the other books I've picked up, it's about overcoming situations and overcoming the situation you're currently in. And I'm not saying January is a bad month. I'm not saying January is a month that we need to overcome. But I'm looking for something to kind of focus on in January, and I think it's a great idea to kind of focus on some of these ideas of moving forward, starting something new, maybe not starting something new and focusing on something that we've loved, like maybe you're writing a book, focus on writing your book this year, or maybe you are training for a marathon and just keep moving forward and keep trying and keep working at it, and you're gonna do great. And that's what these books, I think, are trying to encompass for me, is this movement forward, this getting over a hurdle, this being strong and loving yourself and just keep moving forward. And I think that's why I've picked up these books, is because I like that feeling of moving forward. The last one's kind of a wild card, and that's Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries by Heather Fawcett. Yeah. I have had this book for a while now. It's been sitting on my bookshelf, and I've just decided I'm going to read it. But it also talks about kind of overcoming feelings, and we end up following a woman who writes about fairies. She's an introvert and she doesn't like interacting with people, and she ends up moving to a town where she doesn't want to get to know the townspeople. She's there just to work. And we follow her story, and she ends up meeting a man, and I'm not sure if that's going to lead to love, to friendship, to hate, but she ends up meeting a man. And that's all I got. That's all I got from the little blurb I have on this book. And I think that, again, it's about movement, learning, kind of taking on new challenges, and just being you, being strong, being wonderful. And those are my 5 books. So as you can see, these books are kind of different, but also still kind of dealing with the same themes. And I'm looking forward to reading them. I think they're going to be great. I think they're going to be perfect for this season of January. January, I've decided, is going to be movement and being strong and just taking it one day at a time, because that's all we can do. So let's go ahead and make some dinner and make ourselves a mood board as well. Yeah. I'm actually recording this before I make dinner and before I make the mood board because I know it's going to get really dark and we're not going to be able to see anything if I want to do this outro. So I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for being wonderful. Thank you for being here. And I hope you're going to have a strong, motivational January, even though we only have a week left, but still leading into February. And it's going to be whimsical, and it's going to be wonderful, and it's going to be exactly what you need and want. And if it's not, then we gotta make it a little bit more whimsical. Make yourself delicious cookies, or make a wonderful soup that's just full of flavor and happiness. Or read a book that's gonna put you in that whimsical January feeling, or create a mood board to get you into those feelings, because that's what I'm trying to do. And I encourage you to do the same. And I would love to see your mood boards if you create any. I love seeing other people's mood boards, the feelings, the colors, you can kind of see what somebody's feeling in a mood board. It's kind of encompassing the feeling of how they are, and the colors and the pictures just make for a beautiful little collage, and I think they're great to kind of say, hey, this is the kind of month I'm looking forward to, or the season, or the year, and this is just kind of like a January, February mood board for me. With that and everything said, I do hope you have a lovely day, and I'm so looking forward to seeing you guys next week. Until then, ciao!